Hey guys, welcome back to Caffeine and Questions. Kind of a different format. I'm in Utah training Marine Special Operations snipers in Dugway Proving Ground, which is west of Salt Lake City. Massive expanse of land, kind of a secret base. I'm not allowed, I don't film there. I'm very careful not to do anything that would be considered unethical or illegal. So I pulled out, moved my Sprinter van out this morning and set up on public land and pretty beautiful area. The for those in other countries, sometimes maybe even Americans, the public land is millions and millions of acres of unused space in America. America's a vast country, and once you get west of the Mississippi, there's a lot of public access land. There is some east of the Mississippi, but it's so heavily populated on the East Coast that there's not that much. Most of it's out west, and it's basically land that the public can use. You can camp there, you can hike there, you can drive ATVs and motorcycles and ride horses and shoot guns. And most people treat it with respect and take their trash. Some people leave trash and brass laying around, but most people respect it. There are rules, of course, but it's pretty cool. So I just pulled into public land this morning, set up the camera. I'm going to answer some questions. I think when people ask me questions, I feel obligated to try to answer them as best I can, but bear in mind, this is not the only thing I do. I am pretty freaking busy most of the time. So I'll try to get to it. I asked when I was driving over here from North Carolina, I stopped in Texas, hung out with Todd Hodnett for about a week. I've known Todd for a very long time. We're very similar people. And he's one of my mentors. I've went to him for advice many, many times. And hanging out with him and his son Colby and see how Colby has grown and how knowledgeable he is now and what a great instructor he is. I knew Colby when he was like 12. So it was really cool to see and just hang out. We shot guns, we shot clay pigeons, we shot pistols, we shot long gun. It was a great time. But I did a podcast with Colby and Todd, and I said, hey, send me questions. I got a lot of questions. We've already done that. It's probably maybe even posted by now. But some of the questions I got were clearly targeted at me. So I'm going to try to answer those as best I can now. Let me just get something out of the way real quick. I keep getting asked about the company I used to work for, right, when I get out of the military. And I get it. People are curious. However, I'm not that guy. I'm not going to take cheap shots at people. I left that company a year and a half ago, started my own thing, never happier. I have no idea what goes on over there, nor do I care. But a lot of the people who follow me on social media, on Instagram, on YouTube, and definitely the people who come and train with me, if I was the type of person that talked trash about people, they probably wouldn't come train with me. The Second Amendment, tactical training, veteran world on social media is super toxic. They all hammer each other. They all try to drag each other down because they can't elevate themselves, so they try to drag everybody down. I'm just not getting caught in that circle. I don't want nothing to do with it, and I don't want to be considered to be in that thing. I'm kind of unique in the social media space because I really don't care how many followers I have. I really don't care how many subscribers I have on YouTube. Having said that, go ahead and subscribe. It does help, but I'd rather have the right type of subscribers. And we'll talk about marketing later on. I got some stuff on that. So you can keep asking it if you want. Have at it. Just not going to answer it. There's no point. All right, let's get into the questions. One piece of advice for someone going to SFAS, SFAS, Special Forces Assessment and Selection, whether it's SFAS, MARSOC, Rangers, whatever, the one piece of advice is don't quit. People quit all the time, and it's shocking. Like, okay, it's hard, it's tough, you're tired, you haven't slept, you're hungry. Did you not think that's what was going to happen? When I was at selection, both in the Ranger Wing in Ireland and in Special Forces selection course, you'd wake up in the morning and people would be gone. Beds would be empty or bunks would be empty. You'd be like, where did he go? And he just disappeared during the night, quit. Even through the Q course, there was times when I went to the small unit tactics phase. I've talked about this before when I kind of laid out my whole career, but the small unit tactics phase of the Q course is horribly run. Piss poor instructors most of the time. But we'd be in the formation and they'd say, if anybody wants to quit, go ahead and take a step to the rear and move to the right of the formation. And you're thinking, nobody's going to quit. And people were dropping left and right, and you could hear shuffling behind you, and tons of people would. Now, some of them were not meant to be in that world, and some of them were like, this is bullshit, I'm not doing this, right? Or maybe they just told themselves that. But don't quit. Don't self-assess. Don't think, well, I didn't find enough points, or I didn't do enough push-ups or sit-ups, or whatever that is. Don't self-assess. Let the assessors look at you, because they're looking at the whole package. And the pain of discipline or the pain of regret, that's one or the other. Just suck it up and don't quit. All right. Somebody wrote, did you ever hear of Eldon Bargewell in your career, and did he live up to the legend? I had to read that like 5 times because I thought it was maybe a joke name, like Seymour Butts or fucking Amanda Hugginkiss or something. So Eldon Bargewell, never heard of him. And he probably doesn't live up to the legend, because legends are legends and they're grossly exaggerated across the board. Common trait if you want to pursue SF. There's no common trait, right? I mean, maybe there is. The guys in SF, I work at MARSOC now. There's like 10 or 12 Marine Corps Special Operations instructors here, and they're just the same type of guy as the Green Beret Special Forces sniper instructors I worked with in Range 37. There are personality traits within each service. Marines, Army, Green Berets, Navy SEALs, everybody has its own little personality. But I think what you get is you get hard workers. You get people who don't stand around and wait to be told what to do. They look for work, right? Truck pulls in, instructors attack it and unpack it without being told. They look for work. It's a very common kind of saying in CQB, look for work, right? If you're not putting on a breaching charges, you're pulling security, or you're pulling security to the rear, or you're flex cuffing a prisoner, whatever that, you say look for work. And that's maybe the common trait. They never stop, and everybody busts their ass working until the job is done, and then they look for more work. All right, maybe that's a common trait. If you're not that guy, then maybe you should look elsewhere. What book do you recommend for people preparing for ARW selection, and on how to train and how to eat, etc.? I'm probably not the guy to ask, because I didn't have any books. Most of us didn't. And I didn't eat very well. I did, like, you know what's coming, right? You know you're going to have to carry a pack across the mountains a lot, right? So you need to get used to having a pack on your back and walking up and down mountains. But a lot of people will overtrain and they'll break themselves, and they'll carry an injury in selection. That's the last thing you want to do. If you can navigate with a map and compass, you're making it so much easier on yourself. That's across the board. ARW, Special Forces Selection Course, MARSOC. Map and compass is a basic trait that you need to be good at, okay? Where do you learn that? I have that question later on. But carrying a ruck is extremely important. Good cardio. Rucking ability, the ability to swim, obviously. You don't need to be a big muscle monster, but I would go there carrying a little bit extra weight, because you're going to lose weight. I didn't put a whole lot of thought into. I know in the Rangering in Ireland, I didn't put any thought into it. I was really young and fit, so I just went and did it. In Special Forces, I remember I ran a lot, I rucked a little bit, but I didn't overthink it. I just went and did it. Again, don't quit. Stamina comes from the mind, not the body. The mind will quit before the body does. Don't let yourself talk yourself into that. People will go, wow, this is not really what I want. Okay, that's just an excuse for quitting. Or some people genuinely get hurt, but some people are like, oh, I gotta, injury, knee injury or back injury, and it's. Can you suck it up and move on, or is it just an excuse to quit? All right, you know what's coming. Cardio. Rucking, line navigation, carrying a pack, just train that way. I wouldn't worry about too much about books. Books are written by people generally who don't know what they're talking about, because they talk about their particular experience in selection. Unless a book is written by a guy who was an assessor, they call him, at selection, then you're getting one guy's very limited point of view, like you're doing right now from me. One guy's very limited point of view. but with a lot of experience. What magnification do you recommend for your class? Look, I have my next class, and there's another question later on. Are you coming to New York? My next class is in August 24, 25 in Ben Franklin Range in Pennsylvania, northern Pennsylvania. I've never been up there. I talked to the guy that owns the land, super cool dude, really cool facility. It looks like there's lodging on the range. There's a lodging facility there. If it's 5 hours from New York City, so pretty easy drive. What do you need? You need a rifle, recommended 308, 6.5, 300 Win Mag, but if you have a 5.56, we can make it work as long as you have a decent optic. Sometimes people bring 338s. It's a lot of energy hitting this guy's steel and he'll break it. So I won't let you shoot steel within 400. If you do that, it's easy anyway, but something around there. And if you have something out of the box, just email me and I'll give you some advice. So rifle, ammo, I think I put 120 rounds on it. There's a motorcycle passing with a big muffler on it. I think I put 120 rounds on there. I keep the ammo kind of low because ammo's so freaking expensive. You want to bring more, we'd probably shoot more. It's a phenomenal range. Try to get the same lot number of ammo. And if you look at the box, I did a video on this before, but if you look at the box, it'll give you the lot number. Ask the guy in the store, or if you buy it online, try to make sure it's the same lot. The reason is, once they have a lot of ammo, we'll zero it, we'll chronograph it. Once we change lots, it changes your data. And it's not the end of the world if that happens, because we'll just re-chrono your gun. However, it's going to build in consistency, and we got to stay. If you can, please get the same lot of ammo. So rifle, optic, bipod, ammo. And that's about it. I provide a Kestrel for training. I provide a spot and scope and a tripod. Bring a sandsock, a rear bag if you have one, and we'll get it on. If you don't have a rifle and you want to come get the education, I have 3, and in a pinch 4 308 rifles for rent. Okay, and I rent them for $100, and it just pays to rebarrel them. And sometimes my optics get jacked up, but I will let you rent my gun for 2 days. It's fully set up, it's zeroed, it's got an optic on it, bipod, everything ready to go. And it gives you the education so you can go and make good decisions and buy what you need. Okay, back to the original question, magnification. Depends what you're shooting. If you're shooting a 308, 3 to 18, 4 to 16 is a good kind of 308 magnification. If you're shooting a 300 Win Mag, you can push it a little bit, 5 to 25. I have a 6 to 36, I think, on one of my guns, and a 7 to 35 on another one, but I almost never shoot past 25. And there's something we talk about in the course, too much magnification kind of zooms in your window, so when you take a shot, you want to be able to see your impact, and if you're off at all, you lose it. So opening it up, shoot between 15 and 20 generally, right? But if you have specific questions on what you have will work, just email me, and I'm generally like, hey, bring it along and we'll figure it out together, because it's your system. I'm not like, you have to bring this, and this, right? Bring it along, we'll fix it. If you have 2 guns, bring them both. We'll get them both there and chronoed, and you'll walk away with awesome data. Just make sure I'll try to get match the same lot number of ammo. Trimmer through reticle. Look, whatever reticle you have, bring it. But if you're going to buy a new optic with a reticle, a lot of students now are coming with Trimmer 3 reticles. And a Trimmer 3 reticle was designed by Todd Hodnett, and it has wind dots in it. Wind dots can be calibrated for any caliber, and they're super easy to use, and it stops you doing a lot of math. So when I explain it to people and they shoot it on the range for the first time, they're like, oh my God, I love this thing. If you're trying to make a decision between mils and minutes of angle, they're both just units of measurement. I always recommend mils, because all the speed shooting formulas and all the wind formulas I know are all built for the military, and they're all in mils. So if you are buying, but if you're going to buy and you don't have a system, I'd highly recommend you just come and rent, and then you'll know what to buy when you leave. If you're coming from out of state and you want to ship your ammo, just contact Ben Franklin Range. They're really cool people. They will receive your ammo for you, I'm sure, and you can book a bunk at the range through them as well. I'm going to stay in my spare bedroom. I wrote some stuff down. What have you learned about being an instructor from Todd? That's actually a good one. I was fortunately with the first group that ever went to Canadian Texas to train. It was 2006, I believe. Our team leader, or the team leader of the other sniper team in the SIF company, had met him in a match, and we went down there to train. And the first thing Todd said is, "I'm not a sniper. I'm not teaching you here to teach you sniper craft. I'm here to teach you how to shoot, and I can do that." And immediately it set the balance, because I've been in other classes. I did a combative thing one time for like a month, and this guy was teaching, and his 16-year-old kid was coming in talking about breaking necks and killing people, and I'm like, dude, you're a child. Stop talking like that. So he set the parameter right off the bat, and he said, "I'm not a sniper. I just know how to shoot in long wind, in really high wind, because I've been doing it my whole life, and I'm here to bring that isolated piece." So I thought that was really, really good. The other thing I learned from Todd is customer satisfaction. Todd bends over backwards to make sure people leave with everything they had, everything they need. When we got there, there was probably 22 of us, and we shot in Canadian Texas for like 5 days or a week. And then Todd was like, "You guys want to go shoot pigs?" And we're like, "Hell yeah." So we drove 8 hours south to Paris, Texas, where Todd's wife and kids live. And his poor wife, Shannon, God bless her, she woke up in the morning and walked out, and there was 22 Green Berets asleep on this floor in our sitting room. And it's been like that since, basically, right? So that's what the customer wants. That's what the customer gets. Bend over backwards. If you take care of the customer, everything else falls into place. And I do the same thing. I think I try to bust my ass to make sure you walk away with what you need. And if I haven't done that and you've taken my class, please let me know. But I try to, the number one priority for me is customer satisfaction. You have to walk away satisfied, or I'm not satisfied. Tinnitus. How have you not got tinnitus? I have serious tinnitus, and mine is not ringing. It's like a shh, like a rustling. I can hear it right now. And other than the voices in my head, that's what I hear all the time, right? And it's between the Irish Army and the American Army. Honestly, the Irish Army never issued ear pro for a long time, since its inception in the 1920s up until the 1990s. No ear pro, right? So I have a picture of me shooting a 240 machine gun on the range, no ear pro on, like a jackass. I remember we used to go back to the pub after a day of training, and we'd be sitting at the pub, and there would be like ringing, and we all just thought it was funny because we thought it was temporary. I was on a Ranger instructor's course when I was in the Ranger Wing, and we were in an ambush line, and the Op 4, who were other members of the unit, came into the ambush, came into the kill zone. We opened up with blanks, and one of them tossed a flashbang, a stun grenade, up over the berm, and it hit me in the chest and landed beside me. And like a jackass, I scooped that thing up and went to throw it back, and it went off my hand. Luckily, I hadn't got a grip on it, and the ones we had, they blew out the bottom, but they were for hostage rescue. They weren't even for training. But luckily, it numbed my hand, but it didn't take a finger off, obviously. But it went off my hand, and it bust my eardrum on the right. And when I eventually got back, I was like, I couldn't hear, and I fucking ringing, and I was stunned a little bit, stun grenade. When I eventually got back and I took a shower, the water went into my ear canal, and it freaking hurt. And I went, and I had a pretty significant tear in my right ear. When I was in the American Army, people from the Irish Army will contact me because there was a big, massive civil lawsuit against the government for hearing damage. And people are like, "Dude, you have a documented case. You need to get paid." And I was like, I don't want their fucking money. So I never pursued it. But it got so bad that people were saying the new salute in the Irish Army is this. Irish people are fucking funny, man. But I have severe tendonitis. High angle, do you need to adjust? Of course, yep, you need to adjust for high angle. High angle is massively overestimated because you need angle and distance, right? And you generally need mountains. If you're on top of a 2-story building, 5-story building, 20-story building, you're shooting short range, it makes almost no difference, all right? And one of the things the Kestrel will tell you exactly what that is. And there's other ways to do it too. But you do have to adjust. But how much you have to adjust depends on the angle, cosine, and the distance to the target. I actually did a video on this, and I sent it out just to the subscribers to my website. So if you're not a subscriber, overmatchconsulting.com, we send a newsletter out every now and again, and the link to that video, that private video, will be on there. Have you trained police? I have. And that was the question, just have you trained police? I have trained a lot of cops. And then I got another inquiry the other day about, you've said you're a libertarian, which I am. I'm conservative, but I'm a libertarian. I like the government to stay the hell out of my business. And a lot of veterans are like that because we've seen behind the curtain, we've seen a bit run the government. Anyway, but the person asked me, how can you say you're a libertarian, you believe in freedom, and you believe in the Second Amendment, and how can you train police when police are infringing on people's freedoms? Okay, so I've been in America, good Lord, how long have I been in America? 30 years or something, like 28 years, longer than I lived in Ireland. I have never had a bad interaction with law enforcement. I have had speeding tickets, and I'm always respectful, and I've never, I've gotten speeding tickets, but I was speeding. Not like they pretended I was speeding. I knew the risks. Was speeding and they gave me a ticket. That's the way it's set up. Without police, the whole thing falls apart. The whole country comes to an end. You can see with these big cities that they're, let's defund the police, and they're just getting tore apart by criminals, right? Now, are there bad cops? Of course there are. Are there shitbag cops? Yes. Are there shitbag Green Berets? Absolutely. Are there shitbag fucking Navy SEALs? Absolutely. Every segment of society is going to have that. But you can't vilify a whole segment of the population just because a couple of bad eggs. Now, I know a lot of cops, and I've trained a lot of cops, and they're awesome. They're family men. They're just doing a job that their career path took them into. And they go out and they get shot at, they get abused, they get vilified, and they are underpaid, overworked, and it's a tough job. And without them, the whole system collapses. So yes, I will train cops. I've trained SWAT snipers in a bunch of different places. I've trained cops on all kinds of stuff, and I'm happy to do it because I have a lot of respect for law enforcement. If you don't break the law, you don't have to worry about the cops, okay? Until that changes, I am happy to support cops. Preferred method of leveling an optic and a one-piece mount. Look, leveling your optic is extremely important. What I do with students, there's a bunch of different ways to do it. You can hang a plumb bob, you can do all kinds. What I do with students, because I have 10, 12 students online, I got to get it done. The zero target, we 0 to 100 meters. I will put a big level on it, and I'll draw a level line. And we will level your optic to that, and then we'll tighten the whole thing up, okay? That's kind of a separate video by itself. But if your optic is not level, then you're going to induce, what you think is wind, and it's not, and you're going to miss at distance. But that's how I do it for students. You don't need these leveling kits with 14 different levels, and levels on the gun, and levels on the optic, and levels on the table. And it's like they want to stop the earth rotating while they put their scope on. All right. It can be fairly simple, but you can screw it up as well. But get a level in your gun. Accuracy first, make a great little level that goes right on the optic. And I did a video on one, but it's more expensive. The send it level, it's like little lights. But yeah, you need a level. Land nav material content. I did land nav before with the company I used to work for, and I used to teach land nav. I just haven't gotten into it. There's a little bit of a cost to me up front, with maps and compasses and all that kind of thing. I'd like to get into it again. It's just time is against me. I have a lot of stuff going on, but it is an enjoyable course to teach, and maybe I'll do some online stuff. Maybe that would be easier. But seriously important military and civilian skill if you're a hiker. I don't know where you would go to get good land nav content online. I just don't look at stuff like that, and I'm very, very hesitant to recommend people of all, and when you're looking at stuff, don't look at people's resume. Okay, this guy was a Green Beret, so he must know everything about everything. I guarantee you he fucking doesn't. Of all the special ops guys I've met in my life, right? Green Berets, Rangers, Delta Force, SEALs, there's probably 10 maybe that I would actually hire to work for me. It doesn't mean they're bad guys. It's just I would not want them representing me. So think about that. We'll talk about marketing here in a second. Actually, that's the one. Do you have a marketing director or employ a certain marketing strategy? I do have a marketing director. He has 2 thumbs. This guy, and I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. And I'm bad at it, and I acknowledge that. I have Instagram, I have a podcast. The goal is to push people from Instagram and the podcast to my YouTube channel, and the goal is to push them from my YouTube channel to go train with me. That's kind of my strategy, right? Simplistic. However, in this world of veteran firearms training, I hate that word, influencer, please don't call me that. In order to have massive amount of followers and subscribers, you have to be a douchebag. And I'm not. I'll never be that guy. I will never stand here and tell you I know everything about everything. I won't just put the kind of content out that people want and eat it up. And I think, like I said earlier, the people who follow me and the people who train with me, they're not looking for that. They're looking for somebody who knows a little bit about a skill. Like, people ask me, what are you an expert in? I'm not an expert in anything. An expert has nothing left to learn, and I learn shit all the time. Working here for the Marine Corps, I've been a sniper for 30 freaking years, and I learn shit all the time, right? So anybody gets up in front of you and says they're an expert, they're not. I guarantee they're not. I have a certain skill set in long-range shooting because I worked at sniper school for 3 years, and I spent a lot of time doing it in combat. I know CQB, I'm decent. I can shoot a pistol, I can shoot a carbine, I can do med training, I can line up. I can do a lot of things okay, and I can do some things probably above average. But beyond that, I'm not going to get up here and run my mouth and tell you how to live your life. There's too much of that. And most of these guys, they're not fake, but they're damn sure exaggerating their capabilities and their stories. So I will never be that, and that hurts me in the social media world, but I don't care. I have a small following, but my classes fill up pretty quickly, so I'm happy. But it depends how I was going to say in order to be successful, but it depends how you determine successful. Is successful 1 million followers or 1 million subscribers on YouTube and 1 million? I don't know, not necessarily. I think success is determined by your mental state and your happiness. And the way things are going right now for me, pretty freaking happy. Things are going pretty good, and I don't need to sell my soul and use clickbait and over-exaggerate my capabilities to get more likes and subscribers. Don't care. I'm not that guy. So nope, don't really do any. I could probably use a marketing. So when I was with the previous company I had, they brought in a marketing company, an actual marketing company who'd built some of these big name veteran guys. And we went up to a cabin in Utah, up the mountains. It was snowy, a beautiful cabin. And they had cameras, like 4 or 5 cameras and lights and everything set up. And I really didn't even know what was going on. I was like, what are we doing? And they had interviews with the boss, and they had interviews with some of the employees. And then they got me in the seat, and it did not go well. They started asking me questions, and I very, very specifically gave answers. And I talk in terms of, yes, I was in the Irish Army. Yes, I was in the American Army. Yes, I served in Iraq and Afghanistan. But beyond that, I'm not freaking embellishing anything, right? And they try to get me to, and I wouldn't take the bait. And they said to me at one point, they tried to tell me what to say, and that doesn't work well with me. They said, say, I'm one of the top snipers in the world. And I was like, no, I'm not a sniper. I'm a civilian. I'm not saying that. And they said, but you won the international sniper competition. And I said, so fucking what? Somebody wins it every year. It's not that big a deal. Move on. And they were like stunned. And then they said, say this. And I was like, no, I'm not fucking saying that. And it was horrible. And one of our media guys was off to the side. He wasn't even involved. And he took a picture of me right at that moment when they were starting to piss me off. And I I'll have to get my wife to superimpose the picture, but they say a picture paints 1,000 words, and it absolutely does. I was so fucking mad. I was ready to beat some ass, and I never appeared in anything they ever did because I just wouldn't do that, right? I'm not that guy. So marketing is I understand the need for it, and I tell guys in the Marine Corps or active duty, look, you can get out and you can train people, and you could be the best trainer in the world. You could be awesome. If nobody fucking knows who you are, nobody's coming to your training. That's just the way, and that's what social media does for you. But just because you're on social media doesn't mean you have to be a douchebag on social media. And start building your ego and start believing your own fucking Instagram posts, because you're not that cool. All right, that negative? I don't want to be negative. All right, guys. Look, I know I don't post that much, and I know I don't do enough videos and all that. I really appreciate you guys sticking with me. I think there's going to be some big things moving here this year, 2024. I have a lot of things kind of sidebar, and we'll see where to go. But again, I'm not willing to do certain things. But I appreciate you guys hanging in there. And gonna go to Ireland probably at the end of August or early October, because the Marine Corps hired me in September, and I really want to be there for that. In October, I'll hit the ground. I'll do some content. I'll go see family, go see friends, and I'll try to hit a few castles and stuff like that. If you have suggestions on where I should go, hit me up. It's been a long time since I was in Ireland. I was in Ireland 10 years ago, but it wasn't a happy thing. I just went. My father was terminally ill, so this time me and my wife are going to go around and have a blast. Might have a pint. I don't know. We'll see. Not a drinker anymore. A pint would probably about as much as I could handle, but I'm pretty excited about that. And I've been talking about it for a while, and I just decided, this is a good time. Work for myself. Kids are grown. Let's freaking do it. All right, guys. Hey, if you haven't liked and subscribed right after I told you I don't care how many subscribers I get, but it does help. Thanks, guys. I'll see you later. Bye.